Let's get one thing straight. When most people see a woman living on her own, they get it wrong. They see a void, a missing piece, a life on pause. They look at her with a quiet pity, assuming she's just waiting for a man, waiting for her real life to begin. But what if I told you they're looking at the finished painting and only seeing the empty space on the wall next to it? What if I told you her solitude isn't a waiting room, it's a throne room? Stick with me, because the final point I'm going to make will fundamentally rewire how you think about being whole, being powerful, and being ready for real love. Her solitude is a forge. There's a universe of difference between loneliness and being purposefully alone. Loneliness is a hunger for outside validation. Being alone for her is a feast of self-discovery. When a woman consciously chooses a life without the constant background noise of a relationship that isn't right, the world assumes she's lacking something. The truth, she's finally found everything within herself. She has arrived at the powerful realization that her inner peace is more valuable than temporary, chaotic company. She doesn't need a hand to hold to prove she's worthy of being held. She already knows her own value. And that self-validated worth is the bedrock of true strength. When you stop seeking a relationship to feel complete and start operating from a place of unshakable wholeness, the entire dynamic shifts. You are no longer auditioning for a role in someone else's life. You're casting for a supporting character in your own blockbuster. She is fiercely protective of her peace. A woman who lives alone isn't anti-love, she's anti-drama. She's not hardened, she's sharpened. Sharpened by experience, sharpened by her own standards. She knows the world will chip away at her spirit if she allows it, so she has become a masterful gatekeeper of her own energy. Her mornings are her own. She wakes in the quiet, not to the buzz of a good morning text, but to the hum of her own contentment. She makes her coffee just the way she likes it and smiles, not for anyone else but for the woman she sees in the mirror, a woman she respects. These quiet moments are not empty, they are full of intention, full of clarity, full of a deep, resonant joy that comes from being her own best company. There's a quiet authority in this stillness, a strength born from looking inward for happiness and finding it in abundance. Every resource she has is allocated with purpose. Her time, her focus, her emotional bandwidth, none of it is a free-for-all. She knows the true cost of giving these things away to the wrong people. She remembers the exhaustion, the slow drain of her spirit, the feeling of being undervalued. And she has decided with absolute finality that she will never pay that price again. It took her years of difficult lessons to get to this place, to understand that choosing herself often requires disappointing others. But now that she's here, this clarity is non-negotiable. Her home is a physical manifestation of this principle. The decor isn't a college of past relationships, it's a gallery of her own soul. The art on the walls inspires her, the books on her shelves map her growth, and the very air in her apartment feels clean, not just of dust but of psychic clutter. Her closet is full of clothes that make her feel like herself. Powerful, comfortable, authentic. Nothing is there by accident. Everything she owns serves to either function beautifully or to bring her joy. She has eliminated the filler from her life, both literally and figuratively. And yet, this fierce intentionality doesn't make her cold. Not at all. People often misread her self-sufficiency as indifference. But those who are invited into her world discover an incredible warmth. When she gives you her attention, it is total. When she cooks you a meal, it is an act of genuine care. When she sits with you in your pain, her quiet presence is more comforting than 1,000 empty platitudes. Her connections are real because they are chosen, not obligatory. You will never find her faking interest. If she's with you, it's because she truly wants to be. This doesn't mean loneliness never visits, it does. It's a human emotion, not a character flaw. There are nights after the city has gone quiet, when she might scroll through photos of laughing couples and wonder, am I doing this right? A flicker of doubt might appear, but then the truth rushes back in, powerful and clear. Wanting deep connection does not mean you must accept a shallow substitute. Real love shouldn't feel like a compromise you have to shrink yourself to fit into. It should feel like an expansion. And until she finds that, or decides she is perfectly happy without it, she is more than content. Her self-assurance can be a mirror for other people's insecurities, especially men who are used to a script where they pursue, fix, or rescue. She needs no rescuing. In fact, her greatest rescue mission was the one she performed on herself. So when they ask, why are you still single? She might smile and reply, maybe I'm not. I'm in a committed relationship with myself. Because she is. She is her own safe harbor, her own source of validation, her own greatest love. And once you experience that, it sets the standard for everything else. Her boundaries are now her sacred vows. Not to be cruel but to be kind, to herself first. She's seen the slow poison of toxic dynamics, how unvoiced resentment can curdle love into something unrecognizable. So she is clear and upfront from the beginning. No mind games, no hot and cold behavior, no promises that are just empty words. If you cannot respect the rules of her sanctuary, you will not be granted access. But for the few who do, who see her strength and honor it, they find a loyalty that is breathtaking. She will be your staunchest ally, but she will never ever lose herself in the process. The path to this place was not paved in gold, it was forged in fire. Breakups that felt like they tore her apart, disappointments that tested her faith in others. Well-meaning voices telling her to lower her standards before she ended up alone. But through it all, one unshakable belief kept her going. She deserved a love that felt like peace, not a battle. And she deserved it now, not someday. That belief became her North Star, guiding her back to herself every single time. Today, she exists in the world with a different energy. She stands taller, her voice is clearer, her laugh is freer. She takes calculated risks that align with her dreams. Maybe it's launching a business, traveling to a place where no one knows her name, or mastering a skill just for the joy of it. She doesn't see failure as an endpoint, she sees it as data. Every setback is a lesson that refines her, making her stronger and more certain of her path. People are drawn to this. They see her poise, her focus, her grace under pressure. What they might not see are the years of work, the journaling that untangled her thoughts, the therapy that healed old wounds, the affirmations she spoke to her own reflection on days when the world felt heavy. Becoming this version of herself was the hardest work of her life, and she would not trade a single moment of it. Because here is the ultimate truth: living alone is not about being in a state of lack. It is about curating a life so full of purpose and joy that you become a magnet for more of the same. It's understanding that a partner, should she choose one, will not be the missing piece of her puzzle. He will be a beautiful picture to hang on her already finished wall. He will step into a kingdom that is already flourishing, with a queen who is already crowned. And a partnership built on that kind of mutual, wholehearted respect is the only kind worth having. So no, she is not waiting for a love story to begin. She is busy living one. She dances in her living room, gets lost in books, empowers her friends, and nurtures the most critical relationship she will ever have, the one with herself. A woman who puts herself first isn't just getting by, she is deeply, truly, powerfully thriving, and that is the most epic love story there is. She doesn't settle. This is the part people miss. That woman you see at a cafe, lost in a book, radiating a quiet calm. She could have a dozen notifications on her phone right now. A dozen half-hearted invitations, a dozen men asking for her attention. She isn't responding, not as a power play, but because none of those options feel more valuable than her own peace. None of them match the vibration of the life she's so carefully built. She is not single due to a lack of options. She is single due to an abundance of standards. Society might whisper that her solitude is a sign of failure, but she knows the truth. Loneliness is not the real tragedy. Settling is. And she will not exchange her hard-won tranquility for chaos, her self-respect for crumbs of attention. Love is not supposed to make you question your own value, it's supposed to reflect it back to you, magnified. Until someone arrives who is ready and able to do that, she will remain right where she is, whole, sovereign, and utterly herself. She knows love. She's felt its exhilarating peaks and its crushing valleys. She's been swept away by romance only to be dropped back to earth with a painful thud. She's given away parts of her heart only to see them treated carelessly. Those experiences were not failures, they were her education. They taught her the fragility of trust and the profound rarity of a true, aligned partnership. Now, her idea of love isn't about fleeting butterflies, it's about unwavering respect, shared values, and two people consciously choosing each other, especially on the hard days. Anything less is just noise she's no longer willing to hear. She is not afraid of love, she is afraid of losing herself. She fears repeating cycles, dissolving into someone else's world, and letting a desperate moment erase years of hard-won wisdom. She has witnessed too many brilliant women dim their own light to make a man feel comfortable, abandon their ambitions to fit into a relationship that was never worthy of them. That is not her destiny. Her courage isn't in her willingness to jump into any relationship, it's in her willingness to wait for the right one. The one that feels like coming home. The one that amplifies her, not diminishes her. Courage, she knows, is demanding that others see the worth you've worked so hard to build within yourself. Does loneliness whisper to her on quiet nights? Of course, it's part of the human experience. But then she remembers that wanting more from a partner doesn't mean she should accept less from life. She deserves someone who meets her effort, who sees her ambition as an inspiration, not a competition. Someone who can celebrate her victories and hold her through her defeats without trying to control the narrative. Until that person appears, solitude is a far better companion than dissatisfaction. This mindset can be confusing to others. Friends might say she's not putting herself out there enough. Family might suggest her standards are unrealistic, but their opinions are like water off a duck's back. She knows what they fail to understand. You should not have to sacrifice peace for passion or stability for excitement. Real love provides both. Her confidence can be intimidating, especially to men who expect a chase, who want to be the center of a woman's universe. These men want her to text first, to make excuses for them, to bend her life around their convenience. But she doesn't play those games anymore. She attracts, she doesn't chase. Her authenticity is her magnet. The way she listens with her whole being, speaks her truth without apology, and laughs from her soul. There are no masks, no hidden motives. And while that level of raw honesty might scare some away, the ones who are drawn to it are the only ones that matter. Her very posture sends a clear signal: I am enough, enough on my own, enough without your approval, enough without your validation. This energy creates a force field, repelling those who don't belong and pulling in those who do. People who get it, who understand that loving her means championing her autonomy and meeting her on a level playing field. When someone finally enters her life on these terms, it will not be a rescue. It will be a merger of two whole, thriving entities. And that person won't complete her. She is not a half looking for its other. No, that person will complement her. They will bring their own strengths, their own perspectives, their own fully realized life. Together they will build something even greater. But here is the secret: she's not holding out for this outcome. If it happens, beautiful. If it doesn't, also beautiful. Her fulfillment is not on hold, pending a partner's arrival. It is being generated daily from within. She continues to build her life, brick by brick, through her work, her travels, her friendships, her self-care. Every day she becomes more herself, and therefore more magnetic to the right person. And if that person never comes, that's okay. She is already living a life that most only dream of, a life of profound self-love. A woman who refuses to settle doesn't just attract a better partner. She becomes the partner she was always seeking. Peace is her bottom line. She's learned a lesson that escapes most people: your inner peace is your most valuable asset. Once you've tasted a life of genuine calm, once you've let it sink into your very bones, you refuse to trade it for anything. Not for fleeting passion that leaves you drained, not for ego battles, not for drama. Peace, for her, isn't just quiet, it's alignment. It's the feeling of all the pieces of your life fitting together perfectly. And once you've engineered a life based on self, respect and clarity, you don't go backward. Relationships are not for filling a void, they are for adding to an already solid structure. Anything that threatens that structure is not an opportunity, it's a liability. A relationship that brings confusion, it's a no. No overthinking, no making excuses, no hoping he'll change. A situationship that sappens her energy, it's over. She has no room in her life for half commitments or emotional turbulence presented as romance. A woman living alone has developed a sacred respect for her space, both the physical space around her and the mental space within her. Her home is a temple to this belief. It's tidy not from obsession, but from intention. Wiping a counter, fluffing a pillow. Each small act is a ritual of self-care. She knows that a cluttered environment creates a cluttered mind. There is immense power in walking into your own home and feeling a wave of calm wash over you, knowing that everything is in its place, especially you. Her sanctuary is not cold or sterile, it's alive. Candles cast a warm glow, plants reach for the sun, books wait like old friends. This is her universe, curated with love and guarded with ferocity. Because peace is not a mood, it's a discipline. It's a choice she makes every single day to put her well-being first. It means setting boundaries without feeling guilty. It means walking away from anything that feels off, trusting her intuition completely. Protecting her peace isn't an act of selfishness, it's an act of survival. People who don't understand might call her demanding or too much, but she doesn't hear them. Demanding is asking someone to live in chaos with you. Too much is expecting them to shrink for your comfort. She is neither. She is simply, powerfully herself. If you want to enter her world, you must respect its rhythm. You must arrive with respect, tranquility, and emotional intelligence. Drama will be shown the door. Passive aggression will be called out immediately. Mixed signals will not be tolerated. This is the price of admission. If you want her heart, you must also be a guardian of her peace. That is what true partnership looks like to her. Two people dedicated to protecting, not disrupting each other's inner calm. And yet, for all these high walls of entry, she is not closed. In fact, those who earn their way inside her circle discover a connection of unparalleled depth. Conversations are easy because they are built on a foundation of trust. Laughter is genuine because there are no hidden agendas. Even the silence is comfortable, a shared space of peace. In her presence, people feel safe, safe to be themselves, safe to be vulnerable, safe to just be. That is the gift of a person who prioritizes peace. It becomes a gift to everyone around them. But she didn't just wake up with this clarity. It was earned through years of trial and mostly error. She's been in relationships that were battlefields, where communication was a weapon and love felt like a constant struggle. Each scar taught her a lesson about what she would and would not accept. Eventually, the biggest breakthrough came. Peace was not a destination she could reach with another person. It was a foundation she had to build within herself first. Now her presence speaks for her. It says, "I know my worth, and the price of admission to my life is peace." Strangers might misread this as distance, but those who look closer see the profound softness beneath the strength. They see her deep commitment to authenticity, to balance, to the sacred sanctuary she has built. Sometimes the world's chaos tries to break in, work deadlines, family pressure, societal noise. But she has her tools. Meditation centers her. Journaling processes her emotions. A walk in nature grounds her in what's real. These are not hobbies, they are the essential maintenance of her well-being. They are the infrastructure that keeps her inner world serene, even when the outer world is loud. When people ask for the secret to her happiness, she smiles and says, "It's simple, I choose peace." What they might not understand is that choosing peace is an active, courageous verb. It means having the strength to say no. It means being willing to walk away from people and situations that threaten your harmony. It means trusting that you are worthy of a life defined by serenity. In the end, this is what protecting your soul looks like, creating a life so in tune with your deepest values that anything out of tune is immediately obvious. Like this woman, who wakes up every morning in a space she cherishes, surrounded by an energy she created, navigating the world on her own terms. She is not waiting for life to happen, she is living it, one peaceful, powerful moment at a time. She has standards, not walls. People look at a woman like this and see a fortress. They assume her high standards are walls designed to keep everyone out. They are mistaken. She is not closed, she is discerning. Her heart is not locked away, it is protected. There's a critical distinction between building walls and setting boundaries. Walls are indiscriminate, they block everything, the good, the bad, and the beautiful. Boundaries are intelligent filters, they let in what aligns with your soul and keep out what would harm it. And hers are state-of-the-art. She is open, but she is also a gatekeeper. Open to genuine connection, to vulnerability, to shared joy, but selective about who is granted the privilege of seeing those sides of her. She no longer hands out pieces of herself like free samples because she knows those pieces are priceless. Every bit of energy she gives to another person is an investment, so why would she invest in something that promises no return? Why settle for a shallow conversation when a deep connection is possible? If you earn her trust, you will discover the vastness of her heart, but you have to prove you are a worthy steward of it first. For her love is not blind, it is clear-eyed. She loves with her whole being, but she never loses sight of herself. She knows that real love doesn't make you doubt yourself, it confirms everything you are. That's why she approaches relationships with such intention. She looks for a partner who matches her effort, who meets her in the middle, who understands that partnership is a two-way street. It is a collaboration between two equals, not one person endlessly giving while the other endlessly takes. She gives generously, but not to just anyone. This isn't selfishness, it's self-preservation. She's learned the painful lesson that her generosity can be mistaken for an infinite resource. She has poured her loyalty, her effort, and her vision into relationships that took it all for granted. That chapter is closed. Now she saves her greatest gifts, her time, her care, her devotion, for those who can truly see and appreciate their value, and the value she brings is immense. A loyalty that is nearly unbreakable, an effort that is consistent and true, a vision for life that inspires everyone around her. She knows what she brings to the table, and she will not shrink herself for someone who is intimidated by her light. She is done accepting the bare minimum because she refuses to give anything but her best. Attention without intention is empty noise to her. Words without follow-through are meaningless. She doesn't need constant validation to feel secure. Her life is already rich, built by her own hands and her own resilience. She finds fulfillment in her passions, joy in her solitude, and comfort in her own strength. Physical intimacy is not a currency for her. She feels desired because she desires herself first. She feels love because she loves herself completely. Any affection from an outside source is a beautiful bonus, but it is not essential for her survival. Anyone who wants to be a part of her world must understand this fundamental truth. They will not complete her, they will complement her. They will add another beautiful color to a canvas she is already painting with skill and passion. They must bring peace, not chaos, purpose, not distraction. They must admire her strength, respect her boundaries, and champion her ambition. Anything less, and she will wish them well and walk away. And she won't even break her stride, because walking away no longer hurts her. It used to, back when she confused attachment for love, when she stayed in places that dimmed her spirit, because she was afraid of being alone. But now, leaving feels like a homecoming. It is not an act of fear, it is an act of freedom. The freedom to choose herself every time. The freedom to declare, our values don't align, and that's okay. I release you, but I will not sacrifice myself. People might mistake her selectivity for coldness. They might call her intimidating. But those who have earned their place in her life know the truth. She is the warmest, most loyal person they know. She is not naive. She has seen enough to recognize a red flag from a mile away. She has been hurt enough to know how to protect her heart, not with fear, but with wisdom. Her standards are not a test to see who is strong enough to break down her walls. They are a magnet to attract someone who doesn't even see walls, only an open door to a woman who is worthy of respect. Think of it as a quality control system. Only the best gets through. Only those who cherish her spirit and elevate her life are invited in. It's not personal, it's preservation, it's thriving. In the end, having high standards isn't about shutting people out. It's about inviting the right people in. It's about creating a life so authentic that anything fake feels abrasive. This woman doesn't have walls. She has standards. And being chosen by her, being let into her world, that isn't just about finding love. It's about being worthy of a legacy. She knows her worth. You cannot shame a woman who has made peace with her own company. You cannot trip her into settling for less when she is fully aware of what she deserves. There is a quiet confidence in her posture, an unshakable certainty that comes from deep within. It is not pride, it is profound self-awareness. She did the work, she excavated her own value. And after that, the game changed completely. Not because the world was different, but because she was. The second she understood that her value was not determined by her relationship status, she became free. For years, the world had told her that her worth was measured by being wanted, by being chosen. She finally stopped listening to the noise outside and started tuning into the wisdom inside, and what she found was a simple, revolutionary truth. She is enough. Right now, just as she is. Not enough for now, not enough until Mr. Right comes along, just enough. This knowledge was her liberation. She doesn't need to be in a couple's photo to feel adored. She doesn't need hourly check-ins to feel secure. Her validation is no longer an external resource, it's an internal, renewable energy source. It is generated in the small, sacred acts of showing up for herself, the morning journaling, the solo travel, the way she pushes through a tough workout. It is in the way she heals herself, not overnight, but over time, with patience and grace. This self-love is not an indulgence, it is the core of her survival and the engine of her thriving. A woman like this doesn't mourn her single status, she celebrates it. Because being alone gave her the one thing a bad relationship never could: a crystal clear vision of herself. Solitude was the mirror that showed her what truly makes her laugh, what music makes her soul expand, and what dreams are worth fighting for. Being single wasn't a punishment, it was a sacred apprenticeship with her own spirit. She became her own best friend, her own most trusted advisor, and her own safest place. And when you truly know yourself, you stop tolerating anything that disrespects that self. You spot the red flags instantly, the inconsistent communication, the vague commitments, the lukewarm effort, and you don't make excuses for it. You address it, or you walk away. Because why would you invest your precious energy in a project with no potential when you are busy building an empire for yourself? Knowing your worth changes your physical presence. It straightens your spine, clarifies your voice, and focuses your gaze. Some people find this intimidating. They are accustomed to women who shrink, who bend, who apologize for taking up space. But she stands tall, unapologetically present. She enters a room not demanding attention, but commanding respect. Respect for her time, her energy, and her soul. Some men misread this confidence as a lack of interest, as if her self-reliance means she has no room for them. But needing and wanting are two entirely different things. She doesn't need a partner to be whole. She is already whole, but she may want a partner to share that wholeness with, but not at any price. To be with her, a man must first see her value and mirror it back to her. He must celebrate her light, not try to shield his eyes from it. He must understand that to love her is to honor her freedom. Anything less is a non-starter. Her worth is not a topic for negotiation, it is a fact. People will try to challenge it. Friends will suggest she's being too selective. Family will imply her standards are too high. But their opinions are meaningless. Why? Because she has already fought the battle for her own self-worth and won. She earned her confidence through tears, through breakthroughs, through relentless self-examination. A casual remark cannot undo years of foundational work. Sometimes she thinks of the past versions of herself, the girl who ignored her gut feelings, the young woman who overstayed her welcome in toxic situations. She feels a deep compassion for them, for how far she has come. But she doesn't live in the past. She uses that gratitude to fuel her continued growth. Every single experience, good and bad, was a stepping stone to the woman she is today, strong, whole and free. Ultimately, knowing your worth is not just about rejecting what isn't right for you. It's about fiercely, joyfully and unapologetically saying yes to yourself, to your dreams, to your passions and to your peace. It's about building a life so full and beautiful that a subpar relationship would be a downgrade. This woman doesn't settle because she doesn't have to. She has already created the love of her life, and if someone wants to join that life, they must be extraordinary. Until then, she is happy to be with herself, for herself, by herself. And that truly is more than enough. She is building, not waiting. She is not sitting by the window waiting for a savior. She is in the trenches, with a blueprint and a hard hat, building her own empire. Her career is her skyscraper, rising floor by floor with each project she conquers. Her body is her temple, maintained with discipline, not for external validation, but for her own vitality. Her mind is her fortress, strengthened daily by books, by challenging conversations, and by lessons learned from her own mistakes. And her future, it is not a lottery ticket she's hoping will win. It's a sculpture she is carving with her own 2 hands. Her love life isn't on hold, it's just not the only thing on her agenda. The world sees a single woman and assumes a state of lack, of quiet desperation. They are profoundly mistaken. She is not desperate for a rescuer, she has already rescued herself. Rescued herself from bad relationships, from societal pressure, and from the toxic belief that her value was something to be granted by another. She doesn't need a hero, she is the hero of her own story. The truth is, she wants love. Of course she does. Love, when it is right, is a beautiful, sacred thing. It's partnership, it's growth, it's connection. But she will not accept a counterfeit version. Not at the expense of her peace, not for the price of her self-respect. She knows what a bad relationship costs. It costs you years. Years of self-doubt, years of shrinking, years of recovery. It's a debt she is unwilling to take on. She would rather wait a lifetime for the right thing than spend 1 more year paying off the wrong one. That is the source of her patience, her focus. Her patience is not passive, it is an active choice, made every day to prioritize her long-term vision over short-term gratification. Her focus comes from knowing exactly where she is going. She keeps her eyes on her own path, whether that's a career goal, a personal breakthrough, or simply protecting the peaceful sanctuary of her life. Time is not her enemy, it is her collaborator. What she fears isn't the passing of time, but the wasting of it. She doesn't fear being single, she fears being in a partnership that holds her back. That is the fundamental difference. When people ask if she fears missing out, she just smiles. Missing out on what, exactly? On settling for mediocrity, on draining her precious energy on someone who doesn't see her value. No thank you. She is too busy living a life of her own creation to mourn the life she's supposed to have. She wakes up with a plan, moves with purpose, and goes to sleep with a sense of accomplishment. There is no space for regret in a life lived with such intention, and yet she remains open, genuinely open to love. Not with the clinging energy of desperation, but with the calm, expansive energy of wholeness. If the right person appears, someone who matches her frequency, respects her autonomy, and shares her values, she will welcome them. They will not complete her, for she is already complete. But they will complement her, adding to a life that is already rich and full. Together, they could build something even more magnificent. But until then, she is perfectly content building on her own. Here is what truly sets her apart. She views her singleness as a strategic advantage. It is the space she needs to grow, to dream, to become. She travels, she learns, she invests in friendships that are as deep and committed as any romance. Each experience makes her more herself, and therefore more ready for a truly great partner. But again, if that partner never shows up, she is okay, because she has already built a life that most people would envy. Some men are threatened by this. Her independence, her ambition, her refusal to play by the old rules. They are used to women who need them, who chase them, who make them the center of their world. She will not do that. When she chooses a partner, it will be a conscious choice from a place of strength, not a desperate grab from a place of fear. The men who are intimidated by this will walk away, and she will think to herself, good, she doesn't have the time or energy for anyone who cannot meet her where she is. Because here is the secret: she is not waiting for her life to start. She is in the middle of it, living it fully, one accomplishment, one adventure, one moment of profound self-love at a time. She is writing her own epic story. And if someone is to be written into it, they must be worthy of the plot. They must bring their own magic to match hers. Anything less and she will smile, wish them well, and continue building her queendom. In the end, she isn't afraid of being alone. She's afraid of being with someone who makes her feel alone. And that one distinction has made all the difference. While others are out looking for love, she is busy becoming it. And when the right person finally finds her, they will know exactly how lucky they are to be in the presence of a woman who built her own world, and then chose to let them in. She is not alone, she is aligned. Being by herself does not mean she is cut off from the world. It means she is perfectly in sync with herself, with her values, her purpose, and her own inner truth. Society loves to confuse solitude with loneliness, but she knows the difference. Loneliness is a feeling of lack, a painful void you hope someone else will fill. Alignment is a feeling of fullness, quiet, powerful wholeness. It is the steady internal hum of knowing who you are, even when you're the only one in the room. For her, being alone is not an act of separation, it's an act of integration. It is the process of gathering all the scattered pieces of herself and forging them into a single, powerful whole. She isn't lonely, she is discerning. Discerning about who gets her time, her energy, and her heart. People may misinterpret this as being distant or cold. They are wrong. She simply learned that the quality of connection is infinitely more important than the quantity. She prefers one deep conversation to 100 shallow ones. She treasures shared, comfortable silence over constant, empty noise. When she allows someone into her life, it is a conscious, deliberate choice, not a desperate attempt to fill a silence. She is not cold, she is wise. Her wisdom was earned. Heartbreak taught her resilience. Betrayal taught her discernment. Failure taught her strength. Every lesson deepened her understanding of life and of herself. So now, she moves with a quiet caution, but beneath it is a deep warmth. Her heart is no longer worn on her sleeve for anyone to grab. It is kept safely within her, protected, but ready to be offered to someone who proves they are worthy of it. This wisdom doesn't make her unapproachable, it makes her intentional. She is not anti-love, she is profoundly pro-peace. For her, love is not a storm, it is a calm harbor. Anything that disrupts her inner peace is not love, it's a counterfeit. It's drama pretending to be passion. It's chaos pretending to be connection. She will not make that mistake again. Peace is her North Star. It is the foundation upon which her entire life is built. Without it, nothing else can flourish. A relationship will only be welcomed if it aligns with that peace, if it adds to it, never subtracts from it. This is her most sacred rule. This woman moves with grace, not because her life is easy, but because she has mastered the art of being still. She has learned to sit in the quiet without needing a distraction to save her from her own thoughts. Silence is not empty to her, it is sacred. It is the space where she can finally hear her own voice, clear and true, without the shouting opinions of the world. In that quiet she finds her truth, her strength, her power. She doesn't run from silence, she runs to it, for that is where she meets herself. Her power isn't loud. It's the quiet, unshakable knowledge that she does not require another person to validate her, yet she remains open to a partnership that will elevate her. It is the choice to be alone, not from fear, but from a deep and abiding self-respect. It's knowing that the right love will never ask her to be smaller, it will inspire her to be even more of who she already is. And here is the beautiful paradox: the person who is truly right for her will not shatter her silence. They will understand it, they will respect it, they will be able to sit in it with her. They won't see her independence as a rejection, but as a testament to her strength. They will admire the peace she has cultivated, knowing it will make the foundation of their life together unshakable. They will build something incredible, not from a place of need, but from a place of shared, intentional wholeness. But until then, she remains content in her alignment, trusting the timing of her life. Because ultimately, being aligned with yourself is the greatest love you can ever find. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you stop searching for validation and start attracting admiration. This woman isn't waiting for love to complete her. She is already complete, and when the right person does arrive, they won't change her. They will simply celebrate her. They will join her in her alignment, creating a harmony that is more beautiful than anything she could have created alone. In the meantime, she walks her path with unwavering faith, in herself, in her journey, and in the profound power of her own alignment. Let me leave you with the one thing nobody ever says out loud. The woman who lives alone isn't falling behind. She is miles ahead. She's ahead of the gut-wrenching pain of ignoring red flags. She's ahead of the years of heartbreak that come from trying to force a connection that isn't there. And she is light years ahead of the chaos that keeps so many people from ever discovering their true purpose. This is not a nice little platitude. This is the truth. She didn't choose to be lonely. She chose to be clear. And let's be real about what that means. Clarity is a radical act in a world that constantly bombards you with timelines you're supposed to meet. Clarity is choosing your own peace over someone else's company. It's deciding that waiting for the right thing is not a sign of failure, but a testament to your courage. It is the bravery to know your own worth in a world that profits from you doubting it. Just think about it. How many people do you know who are staying in relationships that have long since expired simply because leaving is too scary? How many are accepting crumbs of affection because they're afraid to ask for a feast of respect? The woman who walks alone has decided she's not afraid. She knows her own company is a 5-star meal and she refuses to trade it for scraps. So if you are that woman walking alone right now, I need you to hear this. Keep going. Keep building your life. Keep protecting your peace as if it's the most precious thing you own. Because it is. You are creating a masterpiece, even if it doesn't look like anyone else's definition of a happy life. Every new skill you learn, every friendship you deepen, every passion you pursue, it is all part of the beautiful life you are building for yourself. Every single step is proof that you are on the right path. Now, here is the part about love that gets left out of the fairy tales. The love you're actually holding out for isn't just about romance. It's about respect. Total unwavering respect for your boundaries, your ambition, your story, and your soul. Real love shows up as an equal. It doesn't try to fix you because it knows you were never broken. It amplifies the light you already have. When it finally comes, it won't feel like a rescue. It will feel like coming home. Not because you needed to be saved, but because it recognizes the sanctuary you've already built. Wouldn't you rather wait for someone who sees your strength and says, "I want to stand next to that," instead of someone who wants to tame it? Of course you would. Because true partnership isn't about two halves making a whole. It's about two whole people coming together to create something even more magnificent. And consider this. Living alone rarely means being isolated. The most powerful women I know have built entire ecosystems of support around them. Friends who are like family, mentors who guide them, communities that uplift them. They have learned that a thriving life doesn't depend on one romantic partner. It depends on meaningful connection in all its forms. As they cultivate this rich, purposeful life, their happiness becomes a magnet, drawing in people, including potential partners, who resonate on the same high frequency. But let's be honest about the hard moments. Yes, doubt will creep in. There will be nights you wonder if you're asking for too much. In those moments, I want you to remember this: you are planting a garden. Every day you choose yourself, you are planting seeds of self-respect, resilience, and faith. It takes time for those seeds to bloom into the breathtaking life you're creating. Trust the process. Trust yourself. The most valuable things in life are never rushed. They arrive after you've consistently said no to the mediocre, and after you've learned to treat your solitude as a sacred space for growth. Real love, the kind that changes you, that elevates you, that feels like destiny, is no exception. It is waiting for the person who is brave enough to wait for it. And when it finds you, it will knock on the door of the beautiful life you built, ready to honor your journey, celebrate you, and add to your story without trying to rewrite it. And in that moment, you will realize the most profound truth of all. You weren't waiting for someone to come and save you. You were preparing to welcome someone worthy of your brilliance.